Hi everybody, thanks for being with us today. I'm Lynn with Plasma Energy Solution, and I want to thank you again for the many lovely messages that we've received since Paul's passing right before Christmas this year. And I wanted to cover a few things today. One of them is a testimonial that we got on cold relief. And this comes from, I purchased a number of your products several weeks ago, one of which was your cold remedy. I've been using it for my dog, who has been suffering with severe upper respiratory congestion and frequent infections. These had begun to obstruct her breathing and led to panic episodes and often small seizures on a daily basis. I used the cold plasma energy to soak a cloth, which I let dry and tied around her throat. I have been delighted with the result. Within a few days, she was 85% improved. She did have another bad episode yesterday and ended up spitting up a lot of mucus, and I think she may have GIRD. So I'm planning on getting inflammation and anxiety, and I wonder if you might have some other suggestions. Can I put these together with the cold formula and place it around her neck? I wondered if they might interfere with one another. Thank you so much for helping my beloved dog when nobody else was able to. And so my message to her was, I'm so glad to hear that cold relief has helped your dog. Inflammation and anxiety can be added to the combination that you give her to drink, and it can also be worn or added as energies to her scarf. You might also look at lung relief if she has long-standing lung issues. Thanks again. And with that, it kind of segues into, are we in the middle of the cold season? And especially for you people who may have traveled and ended up with getting what I always call the dread mahocus, the travel bug. And so what works well for the dog works well for the people. And so we do have several of the energies. We have a lot of times with your colds and everything, you get headaches. So we do have a headache remedy, and this is the Gans bottle of it. We have the cold relief, which is a combination of several Gans. And we have, I did mention to her about lung support, which we also have a Gans bottle of that. And we've written up and we've also done videos on these various products. So you might want to go to our website and just select shop and then products. And as you go through them, you'll find the various videos that we've done. Now, when somebody has a really tough lung issue to deal with, one of the things that Paul always recommended was making a breathing device. And there's very fancy ones out there called the hookahs and things like that. But this is just basic, okay? You have a large mason jar. We went to the hardware store and got a small vinyl tubing. Now, we didn't get 8 feet like he recommends, but he recommends that you fill the whole jar with coiled up vinyl tubing. So you would have several more feet that I'm showing you right here. Now, you leave both ends of the tubing out of the jar, and you take your water and you pour it over all the tubing. There's no water in the tubing, okay? It's just over the tubing. And then you're getting the plasma energy fields into what you're breathing. So then you would just simply, once it's filled up, you would simply use it and inhale with it, and you're inhaling with plasma energized water. So that's a pretty effective thing to do. Now, the other thing you can do if you're traveling, you can always get masks like this and treat them with whatever plasma energy water you might want to use. You might want to use your plasma energy station water, or you might want to use the cold relief. So whatever your particular issue might be, and just have some of these with you when you travel. Put them in your pocket or in your purse, and just have them handy. And another thing you can do, if you're self-conscious of that, you can always have a bandana or a scarf, and all you're really going to do is you can really just kind of wear it around your neck. And if things are kind of gross as far as people coughing around you or whatever, you could just kind of have a little bit of filter between you and your coughing fellow passengers. So those are just a couple of suggestions of things that you can do. Now, I had another question from someone, and so I'm going to go through this. Question: I was wondering, when I bought the Plasma Energy water station, did you change drinking water with real plasma and use that water to put in the vials? Or did you actually make GANs and pull the plasma water from the top and put them in the vials? I almost have the feeling you don't even give us plasma water, you give us drinking water that has been changed. My answer: Paul always filled the vials from his 16 jars of GANs water that had the GANs in the bottom of the jar he had made. When you pull water from the top of the jar, you are still getting nanoparticles of the GANs. Now, the jars we're referring to, this is actually New Tech Frequency Relief. And so what I'm saying is, yes, there are some GANs, some nanoparticles of the GANs in this. Now, in this would be the size of 1 of 16 that go out when we send the Plasma Energy vials in warm door to warm door, as I've shown many times. This is all packaged up, but it has the 16 vials in it. And the next question: is it your belief that the changed water is just as potent as the plasma water? The answer: the changed water is just as potent as the plasma water. That is why you can use water from your station to make vials or pairs of pads for friends or family. Next question, and these are all from the same individual. And did you sell me vials of changed drinking water? My answer: we always send the vials that are made from the jars with the original GANs. So in other words, there would be 16 jars that Paul was pulling the water from the top and filling the vials this size, or in the winter, as we often tell you, because of our freezing weather, we consolidate the 16 smaller jar vials into 4 larger ones. So vial number 1 is going to have the contents from the jars 1, 2, 3, and say 4 in vial number 1. Vial number 2 will have 5 through 8, vial number 3, 9 through 12, and vial number 4, 13 through 16, but they're all coming from the original jars. Okay, and let's see here. Oh, we always send the vials that are made from the jars, as I've just explained. I often show how to use spray bottles in the videos. My spray bottles have some of the original GANs water in them. So when I make a spray bottle like this, for instance, this is my cold spray bottle, and if I had a cold, which I don't, I would have this near my work area, and every now and then I would just take a few sprays of it, and I even spray some a little over my sinus areas of my face, and just kind of pat them in like that. So that's why I would have different jars of the cold. Now, when I put the original, start one of these plastic bottles, I'll take some of the water from the original jar, but then, and I also have a vial in the bottom of the as you can see in this, that is filled with water from the original jar. And then that's how I set up all my plastic spray bottles. The plasma energy fields, you can add water to this, and Paul emphasized many times that you have plasma energy fields of equal strength, whether it started here, it came to here, it was placed on pads that are sent outside of the country. They're all of equal strength. And here is what someone had to emphasize that point that someone sent to me. She had taken a bottle of drinking water with her to visit a friend in another town, and she often went to a chiropractor in that town. And so she stopped by when she was there, and she said, "Last week I spoke to my chiropractor about the plasma water. He was very crazy busy that day, and so next time I'll let him know, make sure when I come in, maybe he isn't quite as busy." But he did test the water for frequencies. He had 3 different commercial bottles of water in the office, which all tested flat for any frequencies when he tested it. No surprise, when he tested the plasma water I brought to him, he was pretty skeptical about it, but it tested positive for 12 frequencies. I'll ask him more about that next time I see him because he was extremely busy. I found that to be fascinating when he did that. And also, in using the process, he kept asking the water its field. The answer was no. Is the field for the water 20 feet? The answer was no. Is the field for the water 40 feet? So he started counting backwards, and the answer came up, yes, the fields of the plasma energy water are 36 feet. So we have often discussed that back to the time several years ago when I decided to douse the energy fields, and we were both really surprised because this size with the 16 vials around one of the energy stations tested 33 feet. And then when I did the pads this size, it was over 30 feet. And then I had another pair of pads that was Post-it note size. Guess what? They were still the same distance of plasma energy fields. So size does not matter with plasma energy. And we're so conditioned with our I call it our cooking training, where a teaspoon is much smaller than a half a cup, which is much smaller than a pint, and so forth. We're talking about completely different measurements with plasma energy. Then there was another question. I myself, this is still the same individual, wonder if you, not Dr. Paul, as he is the one making the products, were actually selling plasma from the GANs. I mean, if you believe changed water is just as potent, why wouldn't you just sell changed plasma water? Why take all the time to extract 5 ml from 16 different vials? You could essentially just extract as much drinking water as you want that is changed from the GANs jars around the station. That, if I understand, is just as potent, right? My answer, yes, the changed water is just as potent. It was Paul's choice to fill the vials as he did from the individual jars of GANs. That is how he started doing them several years ago, and that is how he continued. Whether it was in his veterinary practice or plasma energy, Paul did not believe in cutting corners. He believed in efficiency, and he also believed in giving more than he promised. Here's a final answer to that question from Ella the guinea pig. I got a message a few months ago from Wendy about her guinea pig Ella. "Hi, I'd like to order another plasma energy station. I ordered it all last year, but it's all still in the box. Here's what happened." Now the key thing is here, This is a plasma energy station, which she would have gotten this format. It's still packaged in a box, okay? I put the box on top of my guinea pig Ella's cage. She was around 10 years old and dying of cancer. She had a large tumor, probably a sarcoma, on her lower back. She was lethargic, losing weight, and losing her appetite. I was planning to having to put her to sleep. Once I put the box of the GANS material there, she started to improve. The tumor gradually went away, and she recovered fully. I have never moved the box since, so I guess I'll reorder. She's back to her sweet, happy self at an advanced stage for a guinea pig. My comment here is, you know, we've come a long ways with our understanding of the plasma energy station and the plasma energy waters and how they work. And I'll give you an example. When Paul started treating his arthritic knee, the very first thing he did was he made a pain pin. And the pain pin first started out in, this is a piece of vinyl tubing, and it's a nano-coated coil around a rod, a nano-coated rod. And then it evolved to where this one has the nano-coated coil, but it also has some water, some plasma energy water that he formulated to put in there. So he would hold this on his knee, okay, on his sore knee. But if you think about that, that's pretty unhandy because you've got to sit there for quite a while and do this. So then it evolved to putting some various plasma energy waters in these knee rings. And he would wear these around his knees. There would be one ring below the calf and two above. Okay, well, this worked, but he couldn't wear them at night. They were cumbersome and just, he didn't want to wear them when he was sleeping. So then, this evolved to, I dropped one of these, so let me pick it up, is one day he's sitting there and he's going, you know, size doesn't matter with plasma energy, so I think I'm going to do something different. So he came up with putting the same plasma water that was in the pain pin in the 3 rings, and he put it on the fabric part, or the gauze part of these fabric band-aids. And then he'd do a whole cookie tray of band-aids. And then what he'd do is he'd put this on the front of his knee, and he would put one on the back of his knee. So you had the gradient where the greater and the lesser are interacting between each other and balancing the fields in between the greater and the lesser. So this is a long ways to come in your thinking of what the plasma energy can do and how much of it takes. So I really hope this has been helpful for some of you that may have questions about the plasma energy and just how it works and how can you take your GANS water, put it in pads or on band-aids or bandanas or whatever for others, and it still has the same potency. And Paul always emphasized, if you look at his many videos that he did, he always emphasized that yes, you still are maintaining the same potency. Size does not matter. So I hope that clears that up for any of you that might have some questions about that. And in closing, I'd like to re-emphasize about our peace water. And I've used our plasma energy station water and also peace water in containers that I added to a nearby creek. And that nearby creek goes to a nearby larger creek, which goes to the Yellowstone River, which goes to the Missouri River, which goes to the Mississippi River, which goes to the Gulf, which is then going to embrace the Atlantic. So here's our intention and invitation, and this is on our website. We do have a section on the website about intention. I hope you'll take some time to look at that. And here it is. All plasma energy that originated from Paul and Lynn's efforts joins every other bit of plasma energy that originated from Paul and Lynn's efforts, wherever that plasma energy is in the world, on the lands, in the waters of the rivers, lakes, gulfs, and oceans, in the air, and in the clouds above. All that plasma energy brings Paul and Lynn's intention everywhere on, above, around, and below the surface of planet Earth, that all living beings are filled with love, peace, joy, freedom, well-being, with the ethics and morality to support the love, peace, joy, freedom, and well-being of all living beings on planet Earth, including the living being, our home, planet Earth. All of like intentions are invited to join. So thank you very much for joining us today. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, please give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you the next time we do a video. Please be sure to visit our website, plasmaenergysolution.com. And as you see, I still haven't figured out how to do the camera any other way than how I've done it. So I'll walk away and turn it off. Thanks again. And this is January 11th, 2020. By the way, I forgot to mention, look for Paul's Gift, 25% off for the month of January on our website.